Hey guys, I couldn't think of an intro today, so...
You may remember this charmingly chaotic tower. It's a raid farm decoration we made a few months ago for WaveTech, and even more recently I used it in an art contest hosted by Ryan the Scion. I was super proud of this decoration when we first made it, and I was super stoked when we started to actually work on it on the SMP. Just imagine this bad boy when it's finished, standing alone in the center of the perimeter, glowing in a new day's sun. Wait, what? What is that? What is that?
Is that the Grim Reaper?
This is a Bad Omen Bank, a neat little farm that stores patrol captains, so you can get the Bad Omen effect whenever you'd like to use the raid farm. It's a neat little machine, but if you look really closely, like really closely, it's undecorated. And that brings us to the word of the day. Overkill. This farm is exactly 17 by 25 blocks. It's tall, really tall, but it's thin all the way down. So I ask you, should we A, make a cute little dainty itty bitty tiny super small tower, or B, make the decoration a mega base and what may be my largest project to date? Like super big, like super big, like huge, yeah, so obviously we're going B. The first step in making this mega build was to grab a schematic of the farm from the WaveTech server. It's pretty simple stuff, but with how close it was to the wall of the perimeter, I wanted to have a selection that was large enough to grab some of the terrain. Oh, there it is. Let's go. Okay. For all the people wondering why my stuff is scattered around, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's no reason to ask such silly questions. So first thing we have to do is grab a schematic, and I'm gonna grab a schematic of this entire area. Hi guys. And oh, they can hit me. All right, no, that's fine. There's an arrow in my jaw. Oh my gosh, it peeks out of my eye if I look at an angle. The first thing we need to do is grab a schematic of this whole area. So that's why I have a stick on me. I do not have a stick on me. We're gonna grab the top layer of bedrock just to be safe. All right, but I think we have this all set up. So we have that, and with this schematic saved, we can now head over into single player to actually construct this mega build. Now, I sometimes get a little bit of flack for not designing WaveTech decorations on WaveTech's creative copy, and I ask you, does this block lag look like a safe work environment? No? Yeah. So single player we go. It was pretty easy to set this bad boy up. First thing I did was make the chunk of the perimeter wall a solid stone color. Non-uniform textures hurt my head, and replace all of the blocks in this farm with white concrete. I also made a giant sleeve of stone that goes around the tower, but I'll detail that a little bit more later. The next step was probably the easiest one. See, a few months ago, I worked on a huge bridge for an entirely different project that I, may or may not have forgotten about, but that's alright, because this giant bridge would be an amazing fit to connect our new mega build to the wall of the perimeter. Huge fan of sideways basalt, by the way, been using it a lot. Well, grab a schematic of the bridge we did, and went back to the main build. We imported the bridge and made sure it was a good fit for the tower that we planned. Oh, and as I was saying earlier, that big stone pillar is the smallest bounding box around the farm. We can build up to that wall, but not past it, so everything we make needs to be built around that pillar. So let's load a schematic, come down to the bridge asset, load schematic, sweet, it is improperly rotated. Before I paste, I think I want it to be a little bit more like that. Oh gosh, this is always gonna be a little anxiety inducing, but hey, no time like the present. So let's paste. Okay, you can load a little faster than that. And I think that is beautiful. Wow, I don't know about you guys, but I really love that bridge. Why is it saying that those blocks are placed incorrectly? Implementing the bridge was a success, and just by itself improved the build tenfold. An excellent place to start. The bridge wasn't fully done though, with this small pier needing a bit of a cap. So we're actually going to start from this underside. / copy, rotate -90. We're going to come over here. / paste. Perfect. This is going to be such a fun build. Like right now it's really monochromatic and grayscale, but when we start adding all the colorful and vibrancy, it's going to be pretty nice.
Half a second later.
Whatever that voice is. It doesn't look ideal. I'm not going to lie. Not sure I'm really digging this cap. And after a few bits and bobs here and there, oh yeah, that's a little bit better. Do you like my little balcony? You can look over and see absolutely nothing. Afterwards, it was time to start working on the tower itself. Now, this build is going to be in the same perimeter as the raid farm decoration, so in the spirit of continuity, I wanted to keep the colorful stacked building aesthetic. With the raid farm, we utilized a ton of novel gradients, and while I wanted to keep the same style, I felt that I could improve on this aesthetic by including the gradients, but include also more pipes and gardens, and overall what I like to call clutter decoration. So, in traditional Mr. Max Money's fashion, first we shaped the buildings using colored wool and pillars of stone for supports, and then plan to texture them later. So this is where the first building will be. And again, we're building this kind of in the same style as the raid farm. So let's also make another stone support. Moment of truth. Sweet. Looks good to me, lads. This might be too much bridge. What do you guys think? Is it too much bridge? Part of the building process is knowing when you want it to be gone. And I want it to be gone. Replace air. And this entire thing is gonna fill up. Wow. That was satisfying to watch. All right, let's start that little corner area again. Now, I won't beat around the bush. This took way longer than expected. At this stage, it doesn't look like much, but my mind was already imagining what it would look like in the end, in all of its beauty. The next step was to add the roofs, and I would love to show it to you, but the replays for this build got upwards of 4 hours long, and my computer did not like to render the tail end of that number. It's a bummer, but hopefully you can see the screenshots here if I remember to add them, and I think the roofs turned out okay. You might have noticed these sandstone stairs and wondered what they could be for. See, in the end I plan on mass texturing the roof, and after we do that, we can then replace the sandstone stairs to dark prismarine so that the overhangs don't look jagged. That probably doesn't make sense right now, but give it a video or two. I'll revisit that tidbit to be sure. Anyways, with the many roofs done, we could finally get to texturing. We reused the gradients we made for the raid farm, and made new ones for the magenta and lime buildings, because oddly enough, those weren't on the original raid farm. And oddly enough, that leads us to this very moment. I know, it's a little bit of a shorter episode today, but I was feeling a little under the weather the past few days. But the timing worked out because this is the perfect time to stop and ask for a little bit of feedback. I'd love to hear what you think of the build by now. Can you imagine the final result and how would you improve it? Let me know down below. I'm gonna need a lot of help with this one. And don't worry about this little addition. We'll be talking about it a lot more when I next work on this project. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have. Huge shout out to my wonderful Patreons Skeeter, Milkies, Broski, and Collins. And many thanks for supporting the channel. Stay tuned to the next video where I... another time. And I'll see you then. Peace.